Hey, this is Seth Beismeyer here reporting. I'm about to do an interview with Emmy Green, a cheerleader here at Ball State, and she's going to kind of give us some insight on what it's like to be at some of these sporting events every day. So, Emmy, there she is. Emmy, how does cheering? Now, you actually started at Alabama, so kind of tell us the story about how did you end up at Ball State if you were at Alabama, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I was at Alabama for my first 2 years, and I tore my ACL in tryouts. So I ended up staying there for a year and a half, and I ended up transferring here a year ago. And when I decided to transfer, I decided to cheer and made the team, and here we are.
Awesome. How does cheering at Ball State compare to how it would have been at Alabama? Now, I know you tore it at tryouts, but I know you probably went to a lot of the games. How did attendance kind of compare between these two schools?
It was night and day opposite. There, I think people would literally, like, students would be, like, fighting for just trying to find a ticket, even if it was in the nosebleeds. And here, obviously, not so much the same. But, I guess the atmosphere is the major difference, I would say, because simply just having a full stadium and the atmosphere of, like, the passion and the tradition that every person has or carries with them at Alabama is unreal. That's something I wish that Ball State could have too.
Yeah, you talk about passion. So when you're a cheerleader, especially now at Ball State, how does that lack of passion or that lack of fan attendance affect you guys as a cheer squad who's kind of in charge of getting, like, the fans that are there excited? How does that affect you guys as a cheer team?
It's really difficult to cheer to empty seats, especially when, the second half of games, whether it's football or basketball, a lot of the attendance even decreases from what it started with, and by the end of the game we're sometimes just cheering to the team and the parents that are there, and yeah.
Awesome. So you guys are also very involved in trying to get students to come to the game with kind of the events that you guys have during the week. What are some of those events that you guys do as a cheer team to try and get students to come to the game?
We participate in what's called Chirp Chirp Friday, and that takes place at the Scramble Light every Friday before a home football game. And so what it is a couple Code Red girls from the all-girl, and guys and girls from the co-ed team, and then we also have football players there too, and we'll stand on the corners of the light and just pass out posters and calendars and schedules, and just let people know that there's a game and to come support us.
Awesome. Now to switch gears a little bit, how does attendance compare between the two sports of men's basketball and football? Like, what do you guys see as not just student section, but just overall fans in general?
I think a lot of that has to do with the size of the stadium and the size of the arena. I feel like because the stadium is, outside, and you have that whole lawn, and half the time it's empty. So, you see a lot more of the empty seats, whereas in Worthen it feels a lot more compact, and you're actually in the atmosphere, and you're face to face with a lot of the fans, and it makes it a little bit easier, but, we'd always still like to see the arena or the stadium full.
Yeah. Have you noticed any kind of differences between last year to this year in regards to men's basketball, but as far as attendance has gone? Has it gone up, down, stayed pretty close to the same? What do you think?
A pattern that I've noticed is, like, at the beginning of the season, we have a decent amount of fans there, whether it's students or, just local fans. And then as the, season continues, and even over Christmas break is really hard to get students there, obviously, because we're not here. But I think it always starts out really strong, and then towards the end of the year or end of the season, it kind of fades away.
Now the men's football team obviously had a down year, but the men's basketball team seems to be playing better, I guess, than what they were expected to, I guess, at the beginning of the season. Do you think that has anything to do, and maybe as a cheer team in general, does that influence the way that you guys are able to cheer and maybe get fans to come to the game if you're able to say, hey, like, we're actually somewhat competitive?
Absolutely. I've found that the more games that we win, it's a lot easier to get fans there, and not only get them there but stay there. But something we love to see is a full or partly full like arena at the fourth quarter or second half, and yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you guys for tuning in, and go Cardinals.